Vexer Krell, his three-fingered hand gliding across the holographic screen, focused his orange eyes intently, their gaze narrowing. The source of his months-long frustration remained: the border. This seemingly nonsensical, arbitrary demarcation appeared on every official map. "Computer, zoom to Sector 7 Delta 9, he commanded, his voice resonating with a Zentaur trill that humans reportedly found endearing. Ironically, he'd never encountered a human, a rarity in the past 40 galactic standard years. The projection enlarged, showcasing the boundary of known space, a stark, straight line intersecting star systems with perfect mathematical precision. Beyond this line, nothingness, a blank void marked with the ubiquitous "no data available" pattern. "No data available, my third lung," Krell muttered, taking a swig of his fermented beetle juice. More like "no one allowed." As the Zanari Science Academy's chief cartographer, Krell had mapped black holes, navigated the Nexus Corridor's plasma storms, and led 3 expeditions into the radiation-drenched Vidian expanse. Yet this perfectly straight boundary, conveniently terminating at human space, struck him as bureaucratic absurdity, not cartography. Krell's antennae twitched with annoyance. "Computer, overlay historical maps from before the Treaty of Riel." The hologram flickered, replaced by an older star chart. The border was absent. Instead, survey routes extended deep into what was now designated as off-limits. "Just as I suspected," Krell murmured, his mandibles clicking in a Zari display of intense concentration. The mapping expeditions didn't just cease, they were halted. He saved the comparison to his personal data crystal, tucking it into his uniform. The enigma of the human border had perplexed cartographers for decades, yet no one seemed to discuss it. Official policy was straightforward: respect human boundaries, maintain diplomatic channels, and conduct trade through authorized stations. But Krell was uninterested in politics. He was a cartographer, and maps shouldn't have arbitrary lines dictated by nervous bureaucrats. What could possibly be so terrifying about humans that the entire Galactic Union pretended 1/8 of the galaxy was non-existent? The following morning, Krell strode purposefully through the Academy's pristine corridors, data crystal firmly in hand. Colleagues nodded, their expressions shifting to concern upon noticing his determined stride. "Headed somewhere important, Krell?" asked Professor Zant, his old mentor. "You could say that," Krell replied without slowing. "About to commit career suicide, probably." He continued toward the administrative wing, rehearsing his arguments. This wasn't mere professional curiosity. It was scientific malpractice to maintain fictitious boundaries on official documents. The lack of questioning was even more unsettling. Commander Lonnie Tal's office door hissed open. The commander, a tall, statuesque Proxian with shimmering blue-green scales, glanced up, her expression hardening upon seeing Krell. "Let me guess," she said, setting down her datapad. "The human border again?" Krell's antennae twitched in surprise. "How did you—" "Because you've been obsessing over it for months," Tal interrupted, gesturing to a chair. "Sit down before you injure yourself." Krell sat, deflated by her lack of surprise. "Commander, look at this." He inserted his data crystal. The comparison maps appeared above her desk. "The border isn't natural. It was imposed after the Treaty of Riel. We had expeditions going well beyond that point before." "I'm familiar with the history, cartographer," Commander Tal said, her voice dropping to that dangerous Proxian whisper that made her species such effective diplomats. "What exactly are you hoping to achieve?" "An expedition," Krell blurted. "A small one just to verify what's actually there. The coordinates, the star formations? It's absurd that we're publishing maps with deliberately missing." "Denied." The word landed heavily between them. "But Commander, this isn't about cartography, Krell. It's about survival." She leaned forward, her scales shifting to a deeper blue, a sign of deadly seriousness among Proxians. "Did you ever consider why the border exists?" Krell's third eyelid flickered nervously. "That's what I'm trying to discover." Commander Tal gave a bitter laugh. "No, you're not. Trust me on this one. Access denied. Again." Krell struck the terminal with his palm, earning a disapproving glance from a nearby librarian. "Sorry," he mumbled, turning back to his research assistant. This is ridiculous, Jory. Every file even mentioning human space requires security clearance. Jory Mech, a young Triaxian with mottled gray skin and large, thoughtful eyes, nodded sympathetically. The junior cartographer had volunteered to assist Krell after overhearing his heated discussion with Commander Tal 3 days prior. Perhaps we're approaching this incorrectly, Jory suggested, her voice melodic like all Trians. The galactic archives hold billions of documents. If we can't access files about humans directly, we look for files that *RNT* about humans, Krell finished, his antennae perking up. Jory, you beautiful genius. The archives, a massive complex beneath Central Union Plaza, housed the collected knowledge of 57 species spanning 12,000 years. Crucially, it operated on an ancient system with well-known vulnerabilities that newer security protocols hadn't addressed. Look for expedition logs, Krell instructed as they descended. Survey missions, trading routes, anything that might have passed near human space before the Treaty of Riel. The air cooled as they reached the physical archive's actual printed materials and storage crystals, predating the standardization of galactic records. Few researchers ventured this far, preferring the convenience of digital interfaces. No cameras down here, Jory noted, glancing at the dusty ceiling. And no AI monitors either. Precisely why we're here, Krell grinned, his mandibles spreading wide. Start with Section 42G, Pre-Treaty Astronomical Surveys. For hours they combed through ancient star charts and expedition logs. The work was tedious, but Krell felt the thrill of the hunt. Something significant had occurred, something substantial enough to make the entire Galactic Union agree to ignore 1/8 of the galaxy. Sir, Jory called from between towering shelves, I believe I've found something. She held up a small memory crystal labeled Proximus Centauri Survey Classified in faded lettering. That's a human system, Krell whispered, reaching for the crystal with trembling fingers. Quick, bring the portable reader. Jory produced a small device and Krell inserted the crystal. Ancient encryption flashed warnings, but Krell was prepared. He attached a decryption module, technically illegal but common among serious researchers, and held his breath. Come on, he murmured. The screen flickered, then displayed. Incident report. First contact, Proximus Centauri. Commander, Admiral Vex Talon. Status, restricted. Council eyes only. Warning, unauthorized access punishable by memory wipe. Memory wipe? Jory whispered, looking nervous. Sir, perhaps we should download? Download it all, Krell interrupted, his scientific curiosity overriding his caution. Back in Krell's cramped office, blinds drawn and door locked, they huddled around his desk terminal. The classified crystal's contents had finished decrypting, revealing hundreds of files dating back nearly 70 years. This is it, Krell whispered, his voice hushed with reverence. The actual first contact report. The terminal projected a holographic video log. An older Inari officer, Admiral Vex Talon, appeared, his uniform bearing unfamiliar medals. The timestamp indicated this was recorded 5 days after initial contact. Admiral's log, supplemental, the recording began. Talon looked exhausted, one antenna clearly broken. The diplomatic corps insists I record a formal account of the Proximus Centauri incident. I've refused 3 times. They're threatening court-martial now. Talon took a long drink from a flask. We detected their civilization approximately 2.2 solar cycles ago. Standard procedure, we observed, analyzed their communication patterns, studied their technological development. The humans appeared to be early spacefaring, confined to their home system, with primitive faster-than-light experiments. Perfect candidates for first contact protocol. The Admiral's mandibles clicked rapidly. Extreme distress for Azari. We followed procedure perfectly. Our cultural specialists crafted the appropriate greeting messages. We positioned the diplomatic vessel at the edge of their system, broadcasting peace signals on all frequencies they utilized. We expected wonder, perhaps fear standard reactions. Talon looked directly into the camera, his orange eyes haunted. They responded by destroying our diplomatic vessel. No warning, no communication, just obliteration. 42 of our finest diplomatic officers vaporized. Kel gasped, exchanging shocked glances with Jory. We assumed it was fear, a misunderstanding, Talon continued. We sent a second ship, smaller, less intimidating, with clear messages of peaceful intent. They destroyed that one too. But this time, they followed the debris trail, found our observation post on their outer moon. The Admiral's voice cracked. 3 human ships against our military-grade observation station with a crew of 17. It should have been no contest. Our defensive capabilities were centuries beyond theirs. Talon's eyes glazed over, lost in memory. They shouldn't have even been able to penetrate our shields. But they adapted, mid-battle. We'd fire, they'd analyze, adjust, counter. Strategies we'd never seen. Technologies improvised during the fight itself. They lost 2 ships but kept coming. He slammed his fist on his desk. Do you comprehend what I'm saying? They lost by any reasonable measure, they lost asterisk, but they kept fighting. And they won. Talon's next words were almost a whisper. I arrived with the battle fleet too late. Found the observation post destroyed and a message broadcasting on all frequencies. Just 6 words. 6 words that changed galactic policy forever. The Admiral looked haunted as he quoted, Stay out of our solar system. Talon's image froze, then disappeared. Kel sat back, momentarily speechless. Jory broke the silence. That's why the border exists? Because of one misunderstanding? No, Krell said slowly, scrolling through the other files. There's more, much more. Look at these dates. This continues for years after first contact. The lower levels of Nexus Station reeked of industrial lubricant and inexpensive synthetic food. Krell, his hood pulled low, followed Jory's directions through the maze of maintenance corridors and forgotten service tunnels. Are you certain this is the correct location? He whispered, trying to avoid touching the grimy walls. Positive, Jory replied. My cousin works security down here. Captain Vore hasn't left this sector in 15 years. After discovering the classified records, they'd spent days reviewing personnel files, searching for veterans of the human conflict who were still alive and potentially willing to speak. Captain Draz Vore had emerged as their best prospect, a decorated officer who'd abruptly retired after the 3rd diplomatic mission to the Sol system. There, Jory pointed to a nondescript door marked only with a faded numerical code. Residence Unit 37B. Krell hesitated. Perhaps this wasn't such a good... The door slid open, revealing a grizzled, Taurian massive, bull-headed, with cybernetic implants covering half his face. His one natural eye narrowed suspiciously. You're the cartographer? His voice was gravelly, likely from damaged vocal cords. Krell nodded, suddenly acutely aware of the size difference. Captain Vore could snap him in half without engaging his cybernetic enhancements. Inside, quickly! Vore stepped back, revealing an apartment that defied expectations. Unlike the dingy corridor, the interior was spotless, walls adorned with star charts and what appeared to be hand-drawn maps. You said you found Talon's report, Vore stated, gesturing for them to sit. What else? Records of the follow-up missions, Krell said. But they're fragmented, heavily redacted. We know there were at least 3 additional diplomatic attempts after first contact. Vore laughed, a harsh metallic sound. Diplomatic? Is that what they're calling them? That's the official classification, Jory said cautiously. The Taurian's cybernetic eye whirred, focusing with unsettling precision. Let me tell you what those diplomatic missions really were. After Talon's disaster, the Union Council panicked. Humans had destroyed our ships with vastly inferior technology. How? What were we dealing with? He tapped his metallic horn against his temple. I was first officer on the Indomitable Asterisk, 3rd Fleet. Our mission wasn't diplomacy, it was assessment. Military assessment. Krell's antennae twitched nervously. You went to attack them? Not attack. Intimidate. Show force. Standard procedure for potentially hostile species. Vore's organic eye closed briefly, as if pained by the memory. We brought 12 battle cruisers. State-of-the-art, the pride of the Union fleet. What occurred? Jory whispered. They let us enter their system, unchallenged. Watched us approach their homeworld, Earth. Vor's voice softened. We transmitted our message. Join the Galactic Union or face isolation. Accept our dominance or be considered hostile. And, Krell prompted when Vor fell silent. The captain looked up, his organic eye meeting Krell's. And then, cartographer, we learned why the map ends at human space. Vor retrieved a bottle of amber liquid, pouring 3 generous measures into metal cups. His cybernetic hand trembled slightly, a malfunction or a memory. Krell couldn't determine. They had primitive faster-than-light capability, right? Limited to their solar system, Vor continued, sliding cups toward them. That's what our intel said. That's what we believed. He downed his drink in one gulp. We were wrong. Dead wrong. The moment our ultimatum finished transmitting, human ships appeared, everywhere, not jumping in from hyperspace. They were already there, running silent, cloaked somehow from our scanners. Kel felt his exoskeleton tighten with anxiety. Cloaking technology that could fool Union sensors? Impossible. And hundreds of ships, Vor said, his voice dropping lower. Thousands, maybe. Surrounding our fleet in 3-dimensional formation. Perfect tactical positioning. Ships that hadn't been there seconds before. But how? Jory began. Don't ask me how Vore snapped. I don't know. None of us knew. That was the whole point. They weren't using technology we understood. He poured another drink, his hands shaking. Their lead vessel transmitted one message. Text only. It read, We decline your offer of Union membership. Counter-proposal follows. Vor's laugh was hollow. Then they demonstrated precisely why we should take their counter-proposal seriously. Kel leaned forward. What did they do? They disabled our ships. Not destroyed. Disabled asterisk. Systems failed, weapons offline, engines dead, communications jammed. 12 battlecruisers, 18,000 crew members. The most advanced fleet in explored space. Reduced to floating metal in under 3 minutes. Vor's cybernetic eye whirred rapidly, processing emotional data. His organic body was struggling to regulate. No casualties. They could have killed us all, but they didn't. That was the most terrifying part. It wasn't just technological superiority, it was restraint. Deliberate, calculated restraint. The Taurian stared into his empty cup. Their counterproposal was simple. Humans would establish their own borders. No Union ships would cross those borders. In return, humans would establish trading outposts at designated neutral stations. Limited technological exchange, limited diplomatic relations. The Treaty of Riel, Krell whispered. Exactly. Not a treaty between equals, a list of demands. We had no choice but to accept. Vor tapped his cybernetic implants. They let us drift for 3 days, life support failing. Then they towed our ships to the border they'd established and repaired just enough systems for us to limp home. He looked up, his expression grim. When we returned, the council was waiting. They took our reports, debriefed us for weeks, then made their decision. The borders would be respected, maps would be redrawn, and the truth would be buried. But why? Jory asked. Why conceal it? The Union citizens deserve to know. Think, girl, Vor growled. What happens when people learn there's a species out there that can render our most advanced defenses useless? That chooses not to destroy us only because they don't feel like it? Panic, chaos, the collapse of the carefully constructed myth that the Union is the pinnacle of galactic civilization. Krell's mind raced, connecting fragments of information. But what about first contact? Admiral Talon's report said the humans attacked unprovoked. Why would they do that if they're so advanced? Captain Vor's organic eye narrowed, studying Krell intently. You didn't find the investigation file, did you? The follow-up to Talon's report? When Krell shook his head, Vor sighed deeply. I shouldn't be surprised. That file is buried deeper than most. The Council commissioned a secret investigation after the treaty was signed. Had to know why the humans reacted as they did. Vor reached beneath his chair and retrieved an ancient datapad. I kept a copy. Insurance policy. The captain activated the device, its screen flickering to life with classified Union insignia. Turns out, Talon's perfect first contact protocol wasn't so perfect. Vor handed the pad to Krell. Our diplomatic vessel appeared suddenly at the edge of their system, broadcasting on all frequencies. To us, standard procedure. To humans. He shook his massive head. They just survived something they called the Machine War. Machine War? Jory echoed. Some kind of conflict with artificial intelligence, Vor explained. The investigation found evidence humans had fought a brutal war against their own created technology. They'd won, barely less than a decade before we arrived. Krell scrolled through the report, his antennae rigid with shock. So, when our ships appeared suddenly, broadcasting signals across their entire communication spectrum, they thought it was another attack? Vor finished. Their response wasn't aggression, it was self-defense. Traumatized by one existential threat, they encountered what they perceived as another. The datapad displayed intercepted human communications from that period. Military alerts, emergency broadcasts. Phrases like unknown origin and possible machine resurgence appeared repeatedly. Talon didn't know, Krell murmured. He couldn't have known. No, he couldn't, Vor agreed. Neither side understood the other. Classic tragedy of first contact. But the real asterisk tragedy? What happened at Proximus Centauri asterisk after asterisk the treaty? Vor's expression darkened as he took back the datapad, selecting another file. The treaty established clear boundaries, no Union ships in human space. Period. But some idiots in Union intelligence thought they knew better. Decided humans were too dangerous to leave unmonitored. The file showed mission parameters for a covert operation, codenamed Watchful Eye. They sent stealth craft to set up observation posts in the Proximus Centauri system. Cutting-edge cloaking, technology, ships that could supposedly hide from even human detection. Vor's laugh was bitter. Arrogance, pure arrogance. The humans found them, Krell guessed. Oh, they found them all right. Vor's cybernetic eye pulsed red. And this time, humans didn't show restraint. Within 24 hours, every single stealth craft was destroyed. Not disabled. Asterisk vaporized asterisk. All hands lost. Krell felt his exoskeleton grow cold. How many? 72. 12 Union operatives. Gone. Vor's voice was barely a whisper. Now asterisk that's asterisk when the Council truly understood. Humans don't issue warnings twice. The security alert blared through Krell's apartment at 3 a.m. Standard Time. His door lock disengaged without authorization, and 4 Union security officers burst in, weapons drawn. Cartographer Vexer Krell, the lead officer, a stern Novalian with bioluminescent face markings, announced, By order of the Galactic Security Council, you are detained for unauthorized access of restricted materials. Krell backed against the wall, raising his hands instinctively. This is absurd. I'm a senior cartographer, performing legitimate research. The Novalian's expression remained impassive. Your terminal accessed classified files regarding human border policy. Your location was tracked to unauthorized areas of the archives. You made contact with discharged military personnel under surveillance. Under surveillance? Krell's antennae flattened against his head in anger. Captain Vor is a decorated veteran. What right do you have? Sentient rights are suspended in matters of interspecies security, recited the officer mechanically. Your research assistant has already been detained. All illegally obtained files have been purged from your systems. Panic surged through Krell. Jory, what have you done with Jory? The officers moved forward and practiced formation, 2 grabbing Krell's arms while another prepared a neural suppressor. Memory processing will begin immediately, the lead officer stated. Standard procedure is selective removal of classified information only, but full cognitive restructuring remains an option for uncooperative subjects. You can't do this! Krell struggled feebly against their grip. The public has a right to know. Why are we still afraid 70 years later? What aren't you telling us about the humans? The neural suppressor hovered near his cranial ridge. This isn't about fear, came a familiar voice from the doorway. Commander Lonnie Tal stepped in, her scales shimmering with authority. Stand down, officers. I'll handle this one personally. The security team hesitated, then reluctantly released Krell, who sagged against the wall. Commander, the Navalian began. I'm aware of your orders, T, interrupted, and I'm countermanding them by authority of Science Protocol 772B. This becomes an Academy matter. The officers exchanged confused glances before finally withdrawing, leaving Krell alone with the commander. Her scales had shifted to a deep purple, a color he'd never seen on her before. You should have listened to me, Krell, she said quietly, once they were alone. You've stumbled into something much larger than missing map sectors. Krell straightened, finding an unexpected courage. Then tell me what it is. Why is everyone so afraid to even speak of humans? Commander Tal's scales rippled with color, a proxy indication of internal conflict. She gestured for Krell to sit, then activated a personal dampening field that hummed softly as it established privacy protection. What I'm about to tell you violates at least 7 security protocols, she began, her voice barely above a whisper despite the dampening field. But you've gone too far to be simply memory wiped now. You'd eventually find your way back to these questions. Krell sat rigidly, his scientific mind racing with possibilities. Captain Vore told you about the treaty, about Proximus Centauri. It wasn't a question. What he couldn't tell you, what almost no one knows, is what happened asterisk after asterisk the Proxima incident. Tal removed a small device from her uniform and placed it on the table. A hologram appeared, a star map unlike any Krell had seen, showing not just Union space, but the forbidden human territory as well. The Council was terrified after losing those stealth ships. They expected retaliation, full-scale human invasion. Instead, a single human diplomatic vessel appeared at Riel Station. One ship, minimal weapons, requesting a meeting. The hologram shifted, showing surveillance footage of bipedal figures in simple uniforms. Humans. Krell leaned forward, fascinated by his first glimpse of the mysterious species. They brought evidence, complete recordings of our stealth ships violating their territory. They had every justification to consider the treaty void. Tal's scales darkened further. But that's not why they came? The hologram changed again, displaying what appeared to be a stellar phenomenon Krell didn't recognize, a massive distortion in space. They came to warn us. They detected something at the far edge of their territory, something approaching from intergalactic space, something that had destroyed multiple civilizations before. Krell's antennae twitched nervously. What kind of something? They called it the Harvest, a non-biological entity or collective that consumes advanced civilizations, methodical, patient, unstoppable by conventional means. Tal's voice had taken on an almost reverent fear. The humans had detected its approach decades earlier, part of why they were so alert when we first contacted them. The implications hit Krell like a gravity wave. The machine war, it wasn't against their own AIs, was it? Tal nodded slowly. An advanced scout for the Harvest. The humans defeated it, but barely. They'd been preparing for the main force ever since. But why keep this secret? Surely the Union would help if such a threat exists. Tal's laugh was cold. The Council ran simulations based on human data. Our entire combined fleet wouldn't last an hour against the Harvest. We have nothing to contribute to the fight. The hologram shifted again, showing weapon systems and defensive arrays at the edge of human space. Technology so advanced it seemed almost organic in its complexity. The humans made a unilateral decision, Tal continued. They would stand as the shield between the Harvest and the rest of the galaxy. They didn't ask permission. They didn't request help. They simply informed us that they would handle it. Handle it? An unstoppable intergalactic threat? Krell couldn't hide his disbelief. Remember the machine war? Tal countered. Remember how they disabled 12 of our most advanced battlecruisers in minutes? Humans are different from us, Krell. They advance exponentially in response to threats. Their war technology evolves at rates our scientists can't comprehend. She leaned forward intently. The border exists for two reasons. One, to keep ignorant Union ships from accidentally interfering with human defense systems. And two, her scales pulsed with anxiety, to contain the conflict if the humans fail. Krell felt his blood run cold. You mean, the treaty isn't just about respecting human territory? It's a asterisk quarantine asterisk protocol? Tal's voice dropped even lower. If the harvest breaks through, the border becomes the fire break. The rest of the galaxy sacrifices human space to save itself. The room fell silent, except for the soft hum of the dampening field. Krell struggled to process the enormity of what he'd learned. How long? He finally asked. How long have they been fighting this thing? Tal's scales shifted to a solemn blue. They've been engaged in active conflict for 39 years. The border space is a war zone, Krell. Battles on a scale we can barely comprehend. And no one knows, Krell whispered. Billions of Union citizens going about their lives, never realizing that everything they have, everything they asterisk are asterisk, exists because humans choose to stand between us and annihilation. Tal finished. Now you comprehend the reason for the termination of the maps at a particular location. Certain information is excessively alarming to be documented.